Hello there. This piece of wood is a piece of freshly cut poplar. It's a burl wood piece. There's like a bird's eye burl in here. I'm going to spin this around so you guys can see. So there's the hardwood, the brown stuff, and the whiter wood is called the sapwood, which retains lots of water in the tree. You can see some even burl in there. But what I want to make this video today about is carving wet wood for the very beginners. I don't suggest carving wet wood with these types of burrs in the Dremel. They get plugged up really easy when you're carving wet wood, and it also makes them dull. So what we're going to do, I don't know, since I've carved this out, maybe it dried out a bit, but we're going to carve till I think this won't carve anymore. And then I'm going to show you guys what burrs to use for the wet wood that I like to use for using wet wood. This is the Kutzall Extreme Flame Burr. We'll start out with this one. Okay, so I did some other carvings with this poplar, but I dried it out in the oven. I put it in there at 350 Fahrenheit for 5 minutes, turned it off, and opened the door to get most of the heat out, but then close the door with this in there, and it will slowly dry the wood. Um, Remember that you have a piece of wood in your oven when you turn it on. Remember to turn it off. Don't want you to catch your house on fire. This piece, I wasn't able to do that because it's got moss on there, and dry moss is pretty flammable, I think. So this is going to be a future video carving a wood spirit in here, and put some moss up here and maybe some mushrooms up here and maybe even an owl on this little branch. But let's turn this fan on and get carving. Well, it's not plugging this burr up yet, but I'm sure once I get deeper in here, it's gonna start plugging it up. So I'll keep carving, and I'll stop when it plugs up. Well, here's the thing. It's not really plugging up right now. Different woods. This doesn't feel that wet actually. It feels like it's fairly dry, but still, when I don't I'm just trying to help you guys and girls and whatever you want it to be. Um, Carving wet wood is not the best for using these burrs, but sometimes I guess you can, like this poplar. I guess you can. Um, I know when you're carving wet wood, it's a lot fuzzier. You guys can see like it's fuzzy right here. Way fuzzier carving wet wood. Um, so the other burrs that I use for carving wet wood, this is a cheap aluminum cutting burr. I just burnt it to harden the steel, but you get sets of 5 of these for like I think $10. You can buy them on just type in Dremel bits or 1/8 carving bits. These get dull fast, but this is like using a plane, so you kind of have to watch. This is burl wood, so you don't really know which way the grain's going to go, but you kind of have to go with the grain when you're using this. It's more like a plane. I think I said that already. And then this is a aluminum cutting burr. You get sets of 10 with different shapes and sizes on Amazon for I think it's like $20. So like what, $2 a burr? So this is the favorite shape. This one's like the football. So let's just. This is really good for hardwood too. These aluminum cutters. But let's just put this on here and do some cuts, and I'll show you guys how clean it cuts. So yeah, this is good for wet wood because it doesn't plug up. And if it does plug up, you just get a little screw and then scrape it out of each flute there. So these are aluminum cutting burrs. And let me hook it up and we'll do this. Actually, let's start with this. It's just like a 3-point cutter. See, there's 3 cutters on it. Let's start with this. This is what I do deep cuts with and undercuts. Like I said, if you're going to, let me just carve here. Okay, now let's do some cutting with it. You kind of Okay, so there you can see how clean it cuts compared to the cut saw when it's wet wood. This feels dry. It's weird. And this tree was just cut down like a week ago. But now, so there's that. Now let's put the aluminum cutter on. For the very beginners, when I put my burrs, I'm running a Dremel 4000. This is the Dremel flex shaft. When I put my burrs in, I push them all the way down and I pull them out just a little bit. Because once your collet starts getting older inside here, which locks this in, it gets sticky. Sometimes these burrs get stuck and you can't get it out of the collet when you've loosened this nut. So if you push it in all the way, pull it out just a little bit, then when it's stuck, you can tap this down, it will push it a little bit and you can pull it out. So this is an aluminum cutter. You see how it pulls off pieces like this? Because it's like more like a planer, right? Like, when you're using this one too, you kind of want to go with the grain. There's a rule when you're doing knife carving. Well, I don't know if it's a rule, but they suggest don't go up the stairs like you'd catch each floor, each stair. But if you go down the stairs, you can just slide down the stairs. But if you try to go up the stairs, you hit each tip. So that's what happens when you go up the stairs. You rip the grain. And this bit will carve deep too, right? Watch this. Man, I tell you, the Dremels they're making these days, as soon as I put any pressure on this, my Dremel slows right down. Okay, so you can see here, See how it dug in there? That's because the grain's all over the place on this. The grain's all swirly and stuff, but that's what happens. It digs in, and you gotta try and find the right way to do it. So that's this burr. So let's put the Kutzall Extreme Flame Burr on there again, and we'll see if we can do any cutting with it. So apparently this wood is not that wet, but it's still wet. So here's the Kutzall Extreme Flame Burr on here again. Okay, so sometimes things don't always go as planned. I'm going to keep carving this. I'm going to make a video thing out of this show just to give people ideas. But I showed you guys what burrs you can use if your burr's plugging up from carving wet wood. So I think this video does serve a purpose. So I'm going to continue carving this off screen. If it does get really wet down when I carve deeper and it does plug up, well, I'll show you guys. If it doesn't, that's the end of this video, and hope everybody's doing good. Try not to carve wet wood. Have a good time, and carry on. Okay, so obviously I'm carving a wood, well, I'm back. Obviously I'm carving a wood spirit here. There's a nose. And carving down in here, I hit the wet bark. That's what I'm talking about, plugging up your burr. So when it plugs up like this, that's when I'll switch over to one of the other ones that I showed you guys, and you won't have this problem, because when you plug up your burrs and you keep carving with it, you're heating this sucker up really good, and that's how you can bend the tips over, and it gets dull super fast. Trust me. I've burnt out hundreds of, well, not, yeah, at least 100 of these things when I first started carving. Maybe not the Kutzalls, but the Typhoons is what I started out with, the ones that Fordham makes. Anyways, hope you're all good. Thanks, everybody. If this video helped you out, please give it a like button. Hit the like button, please. Okay, bye. Okay, I'm not quite gone yet. Another tip I can give you guys, if you want to carve wet wood all you want. I'm just saying that it really frustrates me, carving wet wood. So I've carved deep enough in here today. I've exposed the face. I don't know if I'm going to be able to expose it anymore down here. I think it's just bark. But now I'm going to leave this for like a week till I carve it so it can dry out there too. And Tarek gave a good suggestion. I kind of forgot about. Put a fan on this, spinning against the air, pushing air against the face, and that will help dry it out a lot quicker too. So anyways, stay tuned for, it might be on my other channel. Stay tuned.